Gentlemen, we are in week 4 or week 5. We've had 4 shows, and as we know, a college football season, let's talk about it. 12 games, and then you add 4, bowl season is 16 weeks. So we're through the first quarter. I think we're ahead, but we're going to keep on going. But as we look through going into the second quarter, in football speak, by this time, Mark May, the offensive lineman's figured out who's in front of him. He's kind of gotten in his head a little bit where he's going to go. Coach Holtz is doing a little chess match right now. He's already seen, are the trends going to pop up? Is there a new wrinkle in the scheme with his opponent across the field? And, for myself, all I know is I want us to score so I can run down on the kickoff team again. But with that said, let's talk about what just happened in this week 4. We've got upsets. We've got 7 of the top 25 teams in America were upset this or lost this week, but 5 of those lost to unranked teams. We can go on for the rest of this show. You're going to hear as we pick some games later on. But most importantly, let's talk about an upset that happened down in Norfolk, Virginia. Number 13, Virginia Tech, went to Old Dominion in the 757 area code where a lot of their players came from. And they went down there and they got beat, It wasn't pretty. So, Mark, what do you think about that game down there in Norfolk, Virginia?
It was a great win for Old Dominion, obviously, putting 49 points on the board on a Virginia Tech defense led by Bud Foster. When we first saw this team early in the season play against Miami, how good they were against Florida State, how good they were getting to the quarterback, stopping to the run, putting pressure on the offense. In this game, for some reason, the wheels just came off in the fourth quarter. They gave up 24 fourth quarter points to Old Dominion and 49 total points to this team. That's one of the things that sticks out that everybody's talking about. It's the chatter of the college football universe in the Twitter world because people are trying to figure out how a team like Virginia Tech could lose to Old Dominion, Coach.
As I told you, Mark, earlier in the year, you can't tell what kind of team you have. It turns out that they were so impressive against Florida State, but so is everybody else. Florida State hadn't been very good this year, so maybe Virginia Tech's not as good as we thought. In addition to that, Virginia Tech lost their quarterback, Josh Jackson. Mm-hmm. That's a tremendous blow. In addition to that, they had to dismiss their leading pass rusher. 3.5 sacks already this year because they felt for the best interest of the team. And when you look at Virginia Tech right now, and I'm trying to say, okay, how would I feel if I was the head coach for Virginia Tech? First thing you tell them, the only friends you have when things don't go well are those you eat with, sleep with, bleed with, pray with, and cry with. That's your family and your friends. We got to band together. Remember, after Florida State, you had all kinds of friends. You don't have any now except those in this room. We have to band together. In addition to that, it wasn't a conference game. We can still win the conference. Yes, we lost a quarterback, but we're always going to have a couple crises. We got to step up. We got to band together. We will turn this into a plus. You must react that way.
Well, Mark, we've talked about upsets before, and as we say, there were 5 of the top 25 teams this week lost to unranked teams. And you mentioned Virginia Tech, Mississippi State lost to Kentucky, TCU lost to now ranked Texas, Boston College lost to Purdue, Oklahoma State lost to now ranked Texas Tech. But the big game that, top 25 lost, Oregon-Stanford. Stanford's got the ball, 52 seconds left. They've got the game won. And what I really want to know, Mark, and we'll go more into the breakdown of this, but you've lost tough games before. What's the best coaching advice? What's the best player advice? And if I put you in that Oregon locker room before they go to Cal this weekend, what's your advice to them?
Well, if I'm the head coach of Oregon right now, I walk into that locker room and I tell the players, hey, it's on me. I made a mistake. We should have gone into the victory formation with 52 seconds to go on the first down instead of run the ball. The game would have been over. If you saw the Monday Night Football game, that's what the Pittsburgh Steelers did. If you see any game that's a big game, good coaching does that. And coach knows when you've got to go in the victory formation, you do it as soon as you can because you want to ice the game and put it away. And that's what a head coach should do. He should walk into that locker room and say, you know what, this is my mistake. I made a mistake, you guys. This one's on me.
It was his first year as a head football coach at Oregon. He's going to do an outstanding job. He has a very, very fine football team. They outgained Stanford 525, something like that, to 387. It was a real dominant by a very, very fine Oregon football team. However, the coach didn't fumble the football. man, this was on me. I agree with you, Mark. But then again, I thought I had enough confidence in you would protect the football because you know how important it is. That football is so important. You realize, Mark, they even named the game after it. They call it football. That's how important it is. You protect that sucker. Whether we're falling on or you're carrying on it, I would take the blame this time. Next time, no.
Well, later this month, we're going to set something up next month on our website. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a coaching clinic podcast. And it's going to be an open line to one, listen, but number two, for folks like Coach Justin Fuente, Coach Mario Cristobal, and Coach Scott Frost has a line to call, has somebody to talk to, or have somebody, that he can listen to. And Coach, you look at Nebraska, 0-3, okay, it was going to be a rough start, but a rough start in the big house, and they called the mercy rule. I mean, that was bad. Coach, what's your advice to Scott Frost?
Well, first of all, Scott Frost came to UCF and did a tremendous job. He inherited a football team that went 0-12. By his second or third year, he's undefeated. He goes to Nebraska, which is his alma mater, thinking, hey, I know all the answers. I can get everything done. First thing you do when you go into school, you undersell everything. You're not a savior. You don't raise the expectations of people. You lower the expectations. We're here because we have some problems. We're not going to solve them overnight. There's no miracle thing. And then I think you have to look and say, it isn't what I want to do on an offense or defense. What can our players do on offense or defense? Yes, he lost his quarterback, his freshman quarterback, but he has to take, he gained 132 yards against Michigan. You can't do that. You have to give the players something they can do. But once again, you're in it for the long haul. Don't ever make a decision to solve an immediate problem that jeopardizes your long-range goals.
Well, we're going to talk about the other top 25 teams that lost. We'll talk about them later in our review picks. But I want to really start thinking about, what's going to happen for the next couple weeks, what's going to happen for the rest of the season. And maybe now the blowouts are over. We're into conference play. And one of the things with conference play, and Mark, maybe you can shed light on this. We saw Oklahoma State last week, and Oklahoma State, came out, they beat Boise State, and they were looking good. And all of a sudden, they lost to Texas Tech. And that wasn't really close. And now Texas Tech is ranked. What's your thoughts on that in the Big 12?
Well, whatever happens in the Big 12, you've got to play defense, and not many teams play defense in that conference. Everybody's an offensive-minded football team. And Texas Tech, they're going to throw the ball around. They're going to be one of the most explosive teams that you're going to play. Mike Gundy knows that. They just couldn't keep up with them scoring-wise. And it goes down to the wire in these games, and if you can't score in every corner, if you can't score in every possession in that conference, you're going to lose football games. And in that game, that's what happened. Texas Tech just kept pouring it on and pouring it on and pouring it on, and they're relentless once they get hot moving the football.
What's amazing is I said it over and over, and I'll say it every week. You never have the same team two weeks in a row. Different. I can't explain it why, but they don't play the same way. You look at TCU, you look at Oklahoma State, the list goes on and on. But what really impressed me, Mark, they beat Oklahoma State at Stillwater, and that's not real easy to do.
Well, there you have it. Talking about the week in review with the upsets. What's going to happen next, other than some coaching clinics with Coach Lou Holtz and Mark Magos down there especially, talking to those big old linemen and say, hey, boys, get your head back in the game.